Hello everyone, and welcome to the Saiyan What Ifs. So we are back with an interesting movie on what if Goku was the Flame Dragon God Slayer of Fairy Tail Go. Goku x Erza Scarlet x Videl, Fairy Tail x Dragon Ball. But before we start, I just want to remind you to please subscribe to my channel and hit the like button if you enjoy my content. Let's start the story. Chapter 1. The Stranger with Golden Flames. The dimensional rift tore open like a wound in reality itself, jagged, violent, and bleeding raw energy across the evening sky. Magnolia's citizens pointed upward as crimson lightning fractured through clouds suddenly gone the color of bruised plums. The air thickened, tasting of metal and ozone, as wind patterns reversed and swirled into the gaping tear above the east forest. Within that impossible wound between worlds, a lone figure tumbled through, wreathed in golden crimson flames that seemed to devour the very fabric of the rift itself. He fell like a meteor, his descent carving a blazing path through the atmosphere before smashing into the dense forest with enough force to flatten trees for a quarter mile in every direction. The impact created a perfect crater, earth scorched black in concentric rings around a single point where he lay, a man with wild, spiky black hair wearing a tattered orange GI. His muscular frame remained motionless as the dimensional rift above shuddered, contracted, and sealed itself with a final thunder crack that echoed across fury. Silence fell, broken only by the soft crackle of lingering flames and distant birds taking panicked flight. Miles away in Magnolia, Lucy Hartfilia stared wide-eyed at the sky from the window of her apartment. "Did you see that?" Her companion, a pink-haired young man with a scale-patterned scarf, grinned with uninhibited excitement. "Something awesome just crashed. Let's check it out." Lucy. Natsu. Wait, but he was already climbing through her window, his blue flying cat companion close behind. Lucy sighed, reaching for her celestial keys. "Why can't we ever just have a normal evening?" Meanwhile, at the impact site, the stranger's eyelids fluttered. Consciousness returned in fragments, disconnected images, sensations, and half-formed thoughts. His body ached in ways both familiar and foreign. The pain wasn't new, he'd known pain all his life, but something felt fundamentally different. Energy coursed through his veins that wasn't purely his own, wild and untamed, seeking pathways through his body that hadn't existed before. He opened his eyes fully, midnight black irises reflecting the stars now visible through the shattered canopy above. "Where?" His voice emerged rough, smoke-tinged. He pushed himself upright, noting with detached interest that the ground beneath him had vitrified into smooth obsidian from the heat of his arrival. "Who am I?" The question emerged unbidden, and the answer came instantly: Goku. "I'm Son Goku." That certainty anchored him, even as he realized how little else he remembered. Fragmented images flashed. Faces without names, battles without context, a life left behind somewhere else. Standing unsteadily, Goku took inventory. His body responded with familiar precision despite the disorientation. Muscle memory remained intact even if personal memories wavered. The orange GI hung in tatters, but He felt strangely energized despite his rough arrival. Experimentally, he called upon his ki, and gasped as something entirely different answered. Golden crimson flames erupted around his fists, not burning his skin but dancing across it like eager companions. The fire responded to his will, intensifying and diminishing with his thoughts. Unlike the pure energy he somehow knew he should command, these flames felt alive, hungry, and they whispered knowledge directly into his mind. "Dragon God Slayer magic," he murmured, the term emerging from nowhere yet feeling absolutely right. "Flame Dragon God Slayer magic." The words tasted like truth on his tongue. A rustling in the undergrowth interrupted his contemplation. Goku's senses, sharper than any normal human's, detected three approaching figures, two moving with confidence and one flying. Without thinking, he dropped into a defensive stance that felt as natural as breathing. "It came down somewhere around here. I can smell something weird, like fire, but different." The voice belonged to a young man who emerged from the tree line moments later, pink-haired and energetic, wearing an open vest that revealed a well-muscled torso. "Natsu, be careful. We don't know what that thing was." This from a blonde woman following closely behind, her hand hovering near a ring of golden keys at her waist. It could be dangerous." The third voice belonged to a small blue cat with white feathered wings keeping him aloft, a sight that should have surprised Goku but somehow didn't. The pink-haired man, Natsu, stopped abruptly at the crater's edge, eyes widening as he spotted Goku. Whoa, there's someone here. Hey, did you see what crashed? Goku relaxed slightly, sensing no immediate malice from the strangers. I think I was what crashed. All three newcomers stared, taking in his tattered clothing and the perfect crater surrounding him. The blonde woman approached cautiously, brown eyes analyzing everything with sharp intelligence. You fell from that rift in the sky. How are you even alive? That's impossible. Goku rubbed the back of his neck, a gesture that felt deeply habitual. I've been told I do a lot of impossible things. The words emerged naturally, though he couldn't recall who had told him this or when. Natsu approached without the woman's caution, sniffing the air around Goku with unabashed curiosity. You smell weird, like fire but older, more powerful. His eyes narrowed. Are you a dragon slayer? The term triggered something in Goku's fragmented memory. Dragon God Slayer, he corrected automatically. At least, that's what this magic feels like. He extended his hand, allowing the golden crimson flames to manifest again. The effect was immediate. Natsu jumped back, eyes wide with a mixture of shock and excitement. Dragon God Slayer, I've never heard of that. I'm a fire dragon slayer myself. He ignited his own fist with orange-red flames as if in demonstration. Without warning, Goku's flames leapt toward Natsu's, stretching across the space between them like hungry predators. Before either man could react, Goku's golden fire enveloped Natsu's completely, consuming it before returning to dance around Goku's hand. What the? Natsu stared at his now flameless hand. You ate my fire. I didn't mean to, Goku admitted, equally surprised. It happened on its own. That's like what Natsu does with other fire magic, the blue cat observed, hovering between them. But I've never seen anyone eat Natsu's flames before. The blonde woman stepped forward, diplomatic caution in her voice. I'm Lucy Heartfilia, and this is Natsu Dragneel and Happy. We're mages from Fairy Tail Guild. And you are Son Goku. He offered no further explanation, having none to give. Where are you from, Goku? Lucy asked, eyes darting to the sky where the rift had been. That wasn't any teleportation magic I've ever seen. Goku's brow furrowed as he attempted to access memo. Rise that remained frustratingly out of reach. Images flashed. A small house in mountains, a martial arts tournament arena, faces of friends and rivals, but nothing coherent enough to name. I don't remember exactly, he admitted. Somewhere else. Somewhere different from here. Natsu, recovering from his initial shock, grinned suddenly. Well, you seem strong. Fight me, Natsu. Lucy grabbed his scarf, yanking him back. He just fell from the sky. He's injured and confused. Actually, Goku interjected, rolling his shoulders experimentally, I feel fine. Better than fine. And it was true, whatever this new magic was. It seemed to have accelerated his already impressive healing abilities. The prospect of testing himself against this dragon slayer stirred within him, a warrior's excitement. Chi he knew was fundamentally part of who he was. His lips curved into a smile that mirrored Natsu's own battle-hungry grin. A quick spar might help me figure out how this magic works. Lucy threw her hands up in exasperation. You're just as bad as he is. Fine, but at least move away from the forest before you burn everything down. They relocated to a nearby clearing, Lucy and Happy maintaining a safe distance while Natsu and Goku squared off. Despite his fragmented memory, Goku settled into a fighting stance with unconscious precision, legs positioned for optimal balance, guard raised to P. Protect vital areas while maintaining mobility, weight distributed to allow for instant response in any direction. Natsu whistled. You've done this before. Fighting feels familiar, Goku acknowledged. Without further preamble, Natsu charged, fist wreathed in flame. Fire Dragon's Iron Fist. Goku sidestepped with a fluidity that surprised even him, body moving instinctively. The punch missed by millimeters, disturbing Goku's spiky hair as it passed. 3 more strikes followed in rapid succession, each evaded with minimal movement, Goku's expression shifting from uncertain to focused to quietly confident. Stop dodging and fight back, Natsu demanded, frustration evident. Just getting a feel for things, Goku replied calmly, then counterattacked. His movements blurred, appearing G behind Natsu to deliver a precisely calculated blow to the shoulder, forceful enough to demonstrate his speed but carefully controlled to avoid actual damage. The pink-haired Dragon Slayer stumbled forward, genuinely shocked by the velocity of the attack. Whoa, you're fast. Goku didn't respond, instead examining his hands with curiosity. He'd intended to use the golden flames but had instinct. Ively called upon pure physical skill instead. The muscle memory was flawless, evidence of countless battles and rigorous training, but the magic remained unfamiliar, untested. Let me try something, he murmured, more to himself than Natsu. This time, when Natsu attacked with a fire dragon's roar that sent a powerful stream of flames toward him, Goku didn't dodge. Instead, he extended one hand and called upon the strange new power thrumming beneath his skin. Flame Dragon God's Consuming Vortex. The name of the technique emerged unbidden, as if the magic itself supplied the knowledge. A swirling circle of golden crimson fire manifested before his palm, drawing Natsu's flames into it like water down a drain. But unlike water, the consumed flames visibly strengthened Goku's magic, the golden hue intensifying as it absorbed the Dragon Slayer's attack completely. Natsu stood slack-jawed. You really can eat my flames. Not just eat them, Goku realized, feeling the converted energy integrating with his own power. They make me stronger. From her observation point, Lucy gasped. That's like Dragon Slayer magic, but more advanced somehow. If regular Dragon Slayers can consume their own element, and this Dragon God Slayer can consume even another Slayer's magic, that's totally unfair, Happy complained. Natsu, he's got a cheat code. Goku lowered his hand, the golden flames dissipating. I don't think it works on everything. Just dragon-related fire, maybe. He frowned, trying to access knowledge that danced just beyond reach. I feel like I should know more about this. Natsu, rather than being intimidated, looked ecstatic. This is awesome. I've never met anyone who could do that before. He bounded forward, previous battle forgotten. You should come to Fairy Tail. Gramps might know something about Dragon God Slayers. Fairy Tail, Goku repeated, the name unfamiliar. Our guild, Lucy explained, approaching now that the impromptu match had concluded. It's the strongest mage guild in Fury. That's the kingdom we're in, she added, noting Goku's blank expression. If you're lost and don't remember much, it's a good place to start. Master Makarov is very knowledgeable about rare magic. Quote, Goku considered this. Without memories or direction, he had no alternative plan. Something about these people felt trustworthy, particularly Natsu's straightforward enthusiasm. And if this guild master might have information about his magic, or even his origins, it seemed logical to follow them. Lead the way, he decided. The walk to Magnolia revealed more about this strange new world. Goku absorbed everything with curious interest, the architecture so different from the fragmented images in his memory, the casual use of magic by citizens they passed. The concept of organized guilds for mages. Lucy proved an excellent guide, explaining Earthland's basics while Natsu interjected with less helpful but entertaining commentary. As they approached a large building with a distinctive emblem, Goku felt a strange resonance, not recognition, but something deeper, as if the magic within him responded to the powerful energies gathered here. This is it, Natsu announced proudly, the strongest guild in Fury. The guildhall doors burst open as Natsu kicked them with unnecessary force. Hey everyone, look what we found in the forest. Dozens of eyes turned toward the newcomers. Goku cataloged the varied individuals automatically, a defensive habit he didn't question. Magical auras of different types and intensities surrounded each person, perceivable to his heightened senses. Some were reminiscent of Natsu's draconic energy, others entirely unfamiliar. Who's your friend, Natsu? Called a white-haired woman from behind the bar, her gentle smile belying the considerable magical power Goku sensed within her. Before Natsu could answer, a muscular man with white hair and a scar crossing one eye leapt to his feet. Is he strong? A real man would fight me right now. Elfman, give him a minute to breathe, Lucy protested. This is Son Goku. He fell through that weird rift in the sky earlier. He's a Dragon God Slayer, interrupted a new voice, low and authoritative. The crowd parted as a woman approached, scarlet-haired and armor-clad, her posture radiating disciplined power. Unlike the others, whose curiosity seemed benign, her brown eyes held suspicion as they assessed Goku with military precision. I sensed the dimensional disturbance from my mission, she continued. Nothing good has ever come through such rifts. Come on, Erza, Natsu complained. He's not dangerous. Well, he is, but not like that. He ate my fire. The revelation caused a stir among the guild members, but the scarlet-haired woman, Erza, remained unmoved. What exactly is a dragon god slayer? I've never heard of such magic. Goku met her gaze steadily. Her warrior's bearing stirred something familiar within him, respect for a fellow fighter whose power was earned through discipline and hardship. I'm still figuring that out myself. My memories are incomplete. Convenient, Erza noted coolly. But true, Goku replied without defensiveness. I know my name is Son Goku. I know how to fight. And I know this magic responds to me, though it feels new somehow. To demonstrate, he allowed a small flame to manifest above his palm, golden Cr. Imson with hints of divine light swirling within its core. The fire cast strange shadows across his features, highlighting cheekbones and the serious set of his normally carefree expression. Goku fell. The guild's collective tension rise as the magic manifested. They could sense it too. This wasn't ordinary fire or even regular Dragon Slayer magic. It carried an ancient quality, a power that predated common understanding. That's enough. A diminutive figure hopped onto the bar counter, his small stature belied by the immense magical presence he emanated. Elderly but vibrant, with a thick mustache and an inscrutable expression, he studied Goku with eyes that seemed to see beyond the physical. Master Makarov, Lucy began, we found him at the crash site from that dimensional rift. The guild master nodded slowly. I sensed the disturbance. It wasn't the first such rift, merely the gaze remained fixed on Goku. You don't remember how you came to be here? No, Goku admitted. Just fragments. Nothing coherent. Makarov hopped down, approaching until he stood directly before Goku. Despite the height difference, there was nothing comical about the confrontation. Power recognized power, regardless of physical form. Without warning, Makarov's magical energy flared, golden light surrounding him as he rapidly grew to tremendous size, his hand extending toward Goku with frightening speed. The guild gasped collectively, several members diving for cover. Goku didn't flinch, didn't counterattack, didn't even raise his guard. He simply stood, eyes locked with Makarov's, ASM. All smile playing at the corners of his mouth. Not arrogance, but the quiet confidence of someone who had faced greater threats and survived. The giant hand stopped millimeters from Goku's face. Makarov's eyes widened fractionally, then crinkled with surprised amusement. He retracted his hand and shrank back to normal size. Interesting, the guild master mused. Most would have at least flinched. You weren't going to hit me, Goku stated with simple certainty. Oh, how could you know that? Goku's smile widened slightly. Your eyes. They were testing, not threatening. A beat of silence. Then Makarov burst into hearty laughter. Sharp instincts. I like him already. His expression sobered as he addressed the guild. Our new friend is indeed unusual, but I sense no evil intent within him. Whatever brought him here wasn't of his making. Erza stepped forward, her armor catching the light. With respect, Master, we know nothing about him or this Dragon God Slayer magic. The timing of his arrival and these dimensional disturbances could be coincidental or causally linked, Makarov finished for her. Either way, we're better to keep an eye on him than among us. He turned back to Goku. Unless you have somewhere else to go. I don't, Goku acknowledged. And I'd like to learn more about this world and this magic. If you're willing to help, I'd be grateful. Makarov nodded decisively. Then it's settled. Welcome to Fairy Tail, Son Goku. The guild's reaction was mixed. Most following their master's lead with welcoming smiles, others maintaining cautious distance. Erza's expression remained stoic, but she offered a curt nod that suggested provisional acceptance, if not trust. This calls for a celebration. Natsu shouted, already igniting his fists with enthusiasm. Not inside the guild hall. Several members cried in unison, diving to restrain him. The resulting chaos, furniture overturned, drinks spilled, playful insults exchanged, struck Goku as strangely familiar. A warm sensation settled in his chest as he watched the guild's rowdy camaraderie. Whatever he'd lost in memory, his instinct for recognizing family remained intact. These people, despite their quirks and suspicions, felt right somehow. Amidst the celebration, a white-haired woman approached with a warm smile. "I'm Mirajan Strauss. Since you'll be staying with us, we should get you the guild mark. Where would you like it?" Quote. Goku considered briefly. "Right shoulder, I think." Mirajan applied a magical stamp, leaving behind Fairy Tail's emblem in a striking golden color that made to shimmer with crimson undertones, matching his flames perfectly. "It's never done that before," she noted with surprise. "The color usually stays solid. Your magic must be influencing it." "Is that bad?" Goku asked. "No, just unusual. But then, everything about you seems unusual." Her smile was kind rather than accusatory. "In Fairy Tail, that's practically a requirement." Throughout the evening, guild members approached to introduce themselves. Gray, the ice mage with a habit of unconsciously removing clothing. Kana, drinking from a barrel larger than herself. Levi, petite but clearly brilliant, asking detailed questions about his magic that he couldn't answer, and many others whose names and magical specialties blurred together. Goku observed each interaction carefully, logging information about this strange new world while responding to questions as honestly as his limited memory allowed. The only person who maintained consistent distance was Erza, watching from a corner with calculating eyes. Eventually, Goku approached her directly. Her posture stiffened slightly as he neared, hand unconsciously shifting closer to her sword. "You don't trust me," he stated, not an accusation but a simple observation. "I don't know you," she corrected. "There's a difference." Goku nodded, appreciating her directness. "That's fair. I don't completely know myself right now." Something flickered in her eyes, not sympathy exactly, but recognition. "Memory loss is difficult. I've experienced it." She hesitated before adding, "But sometimes what returns isn't what we hoped for." "You're worried about what I might remember." "I'm concerned about what might follow you," Erza clarified. "Dimensional rifts aren't natural. Something caused them, and something sent you through." Goku's expression grew serious. "You think I'm running from something? Or that something's hunting me?" "I think preparation for either possibility is prudent." She studied him with renewed intensity. "You're a warrior. That much is obvious from your stance, your scars, the calluses on your hands. Whatever else you've forgotten, combat is ingrained in you." "Yes," Goku agreed without hesitation. Fighting was fundamental to his identity, perhaps the most certain thing he knew about himself. "Then you understand vigilance." Erza straightened, armor shifting with the movement. "I'll be watching you, Son Goku. Not because I believe you intend harm, but because harm may follow regardless of intention." Rather than taking offense, Goku smiled, a genuine expression that transformed his features from handsome to disarmingly boyish. "I'd expect nothing less from someone protecting their family. And I hope, if trouble does come, that we fight it together rather than against each other." The straightforward sincerity caught Erza off guard. For a brief moment, her disciplined facade cracked, revealing a flash of something softer before professional composure reasserted itself. "We shall see," was all she said. But the hostile edge had diminished from her tone. As the celebration continued around them, Makarov observed from his perch atop the second-floor railing. His aged yes missed nothing. Not the way Goku moved with unconscious grace through the crowded hall, not how he instinctively positioned himself to maintain sightlines to all entrances, not the careful control he exercised when accidentally brushing against others, as if constantly mindful of hidden strength. Laxus, his lightning dragon slayer grandson, materialized beside him. "You're really letting him stay. We know nothing about him." "Sometimes," Makarov replied thoughtfully, "knowing a person's heart is more important than knowing their history." "And you trust your judgment of his heart after 5 minutes?" Makarov smiled enigmatically. "Did you see his eyes when I tested him? No fear, no aggression, just clarity and certainty. Those aren't the eyes of someone running from darkness or harboring ill intent." He paused. "Besides, whatever power he carries, it responded to my magical pressure with respect, not challenge. Rare quality in one so strong." Laxus grunted noncommittally. "What's this dragon god slayer business? Never heard of it." "Nor I," Makarov admitted. But legends speak of beings beyond dragons, god dragons who existed before recorded history. If normal dragon slayers gain power from dragons, perhaps. You think he learned from one of these god dragons? Makarov shook his head. No, his magic feels different. As if it's part of him rather than something learned. I suspect there's more to his story than dimensional travel. Much more. Below, the celebration had evolved into an impromptu feast. Goku's face lit with childlike delight at the spread of food, Aminer. His appetite proved prodigious, stack after stack of plates accumulating beside him as guild members watched in astonished amusement. Where does he put it all? Lucy wondered aloud. Probably fuels his magic, Gray suggested. Natsu eats like a beast too. Hey, Natsu protested through a mouthful. At least I don't strip in public, Ice Princess. What did you call me, Flame Brain? The inevitable brawl erupted, guild members diving for cover as furniture went airborne. Goku watched with bewildered amusement until a flying chair headed directly for an unsuspecting levy. Without conscious thought, he moved, faster than most eyes could track, appearing beside the solid script mage and catching the projectile one-handed. You okay? He asked, setting the chair down gently. Levy blinked up at him, startled by his sudden appearance. How did you? I didn't even see you move. Neither had most of the guild. The brawl paused as everyone stared at Goku, who seemed genuinely confused by their reaction. Was that teleportation magic? Someone whispered. No, Erza stated, her sharp eyes having caught what others missed. That was pure speed. Goku rubbed the back of his neck awkwardly. Sorry. Instinct kicked in. The moment broke as Natsu barreled toward him, eyes shining with competitive fire. Fight me for real this time. I want to see what else you can do. Not inside. Erza and Makarov chorused with identical exasperation. As night descended over Magnolia, the celebration gradually wound down. Lucy offered Goku temporary accommodations. My couch is better than nothing. And it's not like Natsu and Happy don't invite themselves over constantly anyway, which he gratefully accepted. The walk to Lucy's apartment provided a quieter opportunity to process the day's events. The celestial mage kept the conversation light, explaining Magnolia's layout and Fairy Tail's various personalities. Goku listened attentively, asking occasional questions that revealed both his intelligence and his strange gaps in knowledge. So magic is common here. Everyone uses it. Not everyone, Lucy clarified. Maybe 10% of the population has the ability, and not all of them develop it professionally. That's what guilds are for, helping mages train and find work. And these keys, Goku gestured to the ring at her waist, they summon spirits. Lucy smiled, pleased by his interest. Celestial spirits, yes, they're not just tools, they're my friends and partners. She fingered a golden key fondly. Each has their own personality and magic. Goku nodded thoughtfully. That's a good way to look at power, as partnership rather than possession. The simple observation surprised Lucy. Most people focused on the impressive aspects of celestial spirit magic, not its fundamental philosophy. Exactly. That's exactly right. They arrived at her apartment, a cozy space that Goku examined with polite curiosity. Everything here felt alien yet vaguely familiar, as if he'd known similar comforts once but couldn't place when or where. I'll get you some blankets, Lucy offered, disappearing into her bedroom. Left alone, Goku moved to the window, gazing out at Magnolia's nightscape. Stars glittered above, the same stars as before, or entirely different ones. The disorientation of his situation hit him anew. He was a stranger here, a man without context or history, carrying power he didn't fully understand. Here you go, Lucy returned with an armful of bedding. It's not much, but it's perfect, Goku assured her. Thank you for your kindness. She paused, studying him with unexpected perception. It must be scary, waking up somewhere strange with no memories. Goku considered this. Not scary exactly. More incomplete. Like I'm supposed to be someone specific. But I can't remember who. Well, Lucy offered gently, until you remember who you were, maybe you can discover who you want to be now. The sentiment resonated unexpectedly. Goku smiled, a genuine expression that transformed his serious features. That's a good way of looking at it. Later, as Lucy slept in her bedroom, Goku sat cross-legged on the apartment floor rather than the prepared couch. The position felt natural, meditative. He closed his eyes, focusing inward on the strange energy coursing through his body. Golden crimson flames manifested around him, sting dancing shadows across the darkened room. Unlike normal fire, these flames emitted no heat unless he willed it, responding to his mental direction with perfect synchronicity. He experimented carefully, shaping the fire into various forms, testing its properties. The magic whispered to him, ancient knowledge partially accessible, like reading a book with pages missing. Fragments of terminology surfaced: divine essence, consuming flames, dragon ascension. Terms without complete context, yet instinctively meaningful. More troubling were the fragments of memory that flickered through his consciousness: a blue-haired woman smiling at him, a small boy with his own spiky hair calling, "Dad." A proud warrior with flame-like hair shouting his name in battle, a green-skinned man with pointed ears meditating beside him. People who had meant something to him, now reduced to disconnected images without names or context. Were they looking for him? Did they even exist anymore? The quest. Ions remained unanswered as Goku continued his solitary exploration of this new magic, golden flames illuminating his concentrated features until dawn crept over Magnolia's horizon. Across town, on a rooftop overlooking Lucis' apartment, a slender figure crouched in shadow. The woman's short dark hair framed determined features as she observed the golden glow emanating from the window. Her attire, practical combat gear with the insignia of the Rune Knights partially concealed, suggested official business, yet she maintained a careful distance, avoiding detection. Tears glistened in her blue eyes, quickly blinked away as emotion warred with professional discipline. When she finally spoke, her whispered words carried both wonder and trepidation. "It really is you, Goku." After all this time, she straightened, decision made. Tomorrow she would approach him, but carefully, strategically. If his memories were truly compromised as rumors suggested, revelation must be handled delicately. Too much, too soon could prove dangerous for everyone. Her hand drifted to a pendant hidden beneath her uniform, a small orange sphere containing 4 stars. It pulsed with gentle light in response to her touch, resonating with the distant golden flames. "You don't remember me yet," Videl whispered. "But you will." The first light of dawn silhouetted her determined figure before she vanished into the shadows, leaving no trace of her vigil save the lingering promise of a confrontation to come. Chapter 1 End Chapter 2, Embers of Memory. Dawn broke over Magnolia, painting the guild hall's wheat-haired stones in shades of amber and gold. Goku stood outside its doors, watching members arrive for the day's activities. He'd left Lucis' apartment before she woke, needing space to process the fragmented dreams that had plagued his sleep, disjointed images of battles, training sessions, and faces that felt important yet remained nameless. For 3 hours, he'd trained alone in the forest clearing where he'd first sparred with Natsu. The familiar rhythm of martial arts forms had centered him, body remembering what mind could not. Each punch, kick, and stance flowed with practiced precision, USCLE memory intact despite his fractured recall. "You're up early." Goku turned to find Erza approaching, her scarlet hair gleaming in the morning light. Unlike yesterday's elaborate armor, she wore a simple breastplate over practical training clothes. "Couldn't sleep," he admitted. She studied him with that tactician gaze. "Troubled dreams or strategic preparation?" "Both, maybe." He smiled slightly at her directness. "Is everyone in your guild so perceptive, or is that your specialty?" "Observation keeps people ally arms, professional but not unfriendly. Master asked me to help integrate you today. You'll need to understand how guild missions work if you're staying." Behind her words lay unspoken meaning. "I'm still watching you." Goku appreciated the honesty. Something about Erza's straightforward approach felt refreshing. "I'd like that," he replied, matching her professional tone. Inside, the guild already hummed with activity despite the early hour. Mirajan served Breya fast while members clustered around a large board covered with papers. At a corner table, a small, elderly man with thick eyebrows and diminutive stature, similar to Makarov but distinctly different, poured over ancient-looking tomes. "That's Levi's grandfather, Wexler," Erza explained, following Goku's gaze. Former magical archaeologist. Master asked him to research Dragon God Slayer magic after you arrived. Goku's interest peaked. Has he found anything? Nothing concrete yet. It's apparently quite rare in historical records. She gestured toward the paper-covered board. That's our mission board. Guild members take jobs posted by clients, everything from monster extermination to treasure hunting to escort services. And that's how mages earn their living. Precisely. The guild takes a small percentage of the reward to cover operational costs. She selected a paper from the board. This would be suitable for your first mission, a straightforward request to deal with Forest Vulk. Ants causing trouble near Shiratsum town. Goku studied the mission details. The concept felt oddly familiar, though different in execution from whatever work he'd done before. Who would I go with? Standard practice for new members is to team with experienced mages until you understand guild protocols. She glanced around the hall. Natsu and Gray should suffice, assuming they don't destroy half the town in the process. As if summoned by their names, the fire and ice mages burst through the guild doors, already mid-argument. I told you, Ice Princess, I smelled something weird near the East Forest. We should check it out. And I told you, Flame Brain, your nose is probably just picking up your own stink. Their bickering halted abruptly when they spotted Goku. Natsu's face lit with enthusiasm while Gray assessed him with cooler interest. Fight me again, Natsu demanded immediately. Gray shoved him aside. Ignore the hothead. I'm Gray Fullbuster. He extended a hand which Goku shook firmly. Ice make magic. Heard you gave this idiot a run for his money yesterday. More like ate my flames, Natsu grumbled, though without genuine resentment. Erza stepped between them. You'll both accompany Goku on a mission today. Vulcan trouble near Shiratsum. Neither dared protest Erza's directive, though Natsu's excitement quickly overcame any disappointment. Awesome. We can see what else you can do. Just try not to level any buildings, Gray muttered. We're still paying for the last 3 towns Natsu damaged. Like you're any better. Who froze the entire port at Harjan? That was because you set the warehouse district on fire. Their argument continued as they followed Erza to the bar for mission registration. Goku watched with quiet amusement, sensing genuine friendship beneath their antagonism. Something about their dynamic triggered a memory fragment, himself and a prideful man with flame-like hair exchanging similar insults while a blue-haired woman sighed in exasperation. The image vanished as quickly as it had appeared, leaving behind an ache of loss for connections he couldn't fully remember. They grow on you, eventually, came Miraja. Nee's gentle voice as she approached with a steaming plate of food. I thought you might be hungry. Goku's expression brightened instantly. Thank you. I didn't want to presume. Guild members take care of each other, she assured him. Besides, Lucy mentioned your appetite rivals Natsu's. The breakfast disappeared with impressive speed, Goku's enjoyment evident with every bite. Several guild members watched with expressions ranging from amusement to disbelief as plate after plate was emptied. Where does it all go? Someone whispered. Must be that Dragon God Slayer magic, another suggested. Extra powerful, extra hungry. Across the hall, Wexler looked up from his research, observing Goku with scholarly interest before returning to a particularly ancient text with renewed focus. After finalizing mission details, Erza rejoined Goku with Natsu and Gray in tow. Everything's arranged. You'll depart in 1 hour. She handed him a small communication lacrima. Standard issue for guild members. Contact us if there's trouble. You're not coming? Goku asked, surprised by his own disappointment. Something flickered in her eyes, too brief to interpret. I have other responsibilities today. Besides, she added with a hint of a smile, I doubt 3 capable wizards need my supervision for Vulcans. Unless you want to show me that rematch. Natsu interjected hopefully. A's expression shifted to exasperated fondness. Perhaps when you return. Her attention returned to Goku, professional once more. This will be good experience, both for understanding how our guild operates and for testing your magic in controlled circumstances. The underlying message was clear. Show us what you can do without endangering civilians. Goku nodded, appreciating her pragmatism. An hour later, the unusual trio departed Magnolia by train, an experience that immediately revealed one of Natsu's weaknesses as the Dragon Slayer collapsed into motion sickness the moment the vehicle started moving. Happens every time, Gray explained, unsympathetic as Natsu groaned from the seat opposite. Dragon Slayer thing. Their enhanced senses make transportation a nightmare. Goku frowned thoughtfully. I don't feel anything like that. Maybe God Slayers are different. Or maybe you're just lucky. Maybe. Goku's gaze drifted to the passing landscape. The countryside looked nothing like the fragmented images in his memory. No capsule houses, no massive cities with tower-like buildings, no vast wastelands where battles had scarred the earth. Had those places been real, or merely dreams? So, Gray interrupted his musings, any memories coming back? Fragments. Nothing coherent. Goku described some of the disconnected images: martial arts tournaments, training in extreme environments. People whose names escaped him. Everything feels familiar but distant, like someone else's life I watched but can't quite reach. Gray nodded thoughtfully. Magic can mess with memories. We've seen it before in our guild. A flash of insight struck Goku. Erza mentioned experiencing memory loss too. Yeah, though that's her story to tell if she wants. Gray glanced at their motion-sick companion. Natsu as well, actually. Doesn't remember anything before his dragon foster father found him. The information added new context to Natsu's immediate acceptance of Goku despite his unusual arrival. Perhaps the Dragon Slayer recognized a kindred spirit, someone else adrift without a complete past. The conversation shifted to practical matters as Gray explained more about guild operations. Magical creatures like Vulcans, and the political landscape of Fury. Goku absorbed everything with quiet intelligence, asking perceptive questions that occasionally surprised the Ice Mage. You catch on quick for someone with amnesia, Gray observed. Goku shrugged. My memories might be fragmented, but my mind works fine. Besides, adapting quickly feels natural, like I've had practice adjusting to new situations. That'll serve you well in Fairy Tail. Normal doesn't exactly describe our daily lives. The train journey ended at Shiratsum Town, a picturesque settlement nestled against forested mountains. Natsu recovered immediately upon disembarking, his energetic personality resurfacing as if the debilitating sickness had never occurred. Let's find these Vulcans and kick some tail, he declared, flames briefly engulfing his fists with Exit, fighting second, Gray reminded him, already unconsciously unbuttoning his shirt despite the mountain chill. The client, alum, beer mill owner named Talon, received them at his office overlooking the town's main square. A burly man with calloused hands and worry lines etching his weathered face, he explained their situation with businesslike brevity. Vulcans have been interfering with our operations for weeks. They've ransacked our camp, stolen equipment, and frightened off workers. Normally they stay deeper in the mountains. But something's driven them closer to town. Any idea what changed? Goku asked. Talon hesitated. There was a strange light in the sky last week, like the northern aurora but moving in circles. The next day, our troubles began. Gray and Natsu exchanged significant glances. Like the rift that brought you here, Gray murmured to Goku. Smaller maybe, but similar, Natsu agreed, uncharacteristically serious. Goku felt a resonance within his Dragon God Slayer magic, a subtle pull toward the mountains. Where exactly did this light appear? Talon pointed through his window toward a distant peak. Above Mount Hakoge's eastern face. There's an old temple ruin up there that nobody visits, too remote and supposedly cursed. That's where we'll find our answers, Goku stated with quiet certainty. After gathering additional details and supplies, the three mages headed into the forest where Vulcan sightings were most common. Natsu took point, his enhanced senses scanning for Thria. While Gray maintained vigilant watch over their flanks. Goku fell into the team dynamic naturally, positioning himself to cover their vulnerabilities without need for discussion. You've done this before, Gray observed. Military. Maybe, Goku acknowledged. It feels practiced. They hadn't traveled far when Natsu stopped abruptly, nose twitching. Vulcans ahead. About 5 of them. And, he frowned, something else. Something wrong. Before either could question him further, massive humanoid creatures with simian features crashed through the underbrush. Standing nearly 10 feet tall, with disproportionately long arms and tusked mouths, the Vulcans made an intimidating sight. More concerning was the strange purple energy crackling around their bodies, energy that shouldn't have been there. That's not normal, Gray confirmed, dropping into a combat stance. Vulcans don't have that kind of magical aura. Smells weird, Natsu agreed, igniting his fists. Like Goku's arrival but sour somehow. The creatures charged without warning. Natsu met the first with a flaming uppercut. Fire Dragon's iron fist. Gray simultaneously created a shield of ice to block another's attack. Ice make. Shield. Goku observed for precisely 3 seconds, assessing the threat level, the creatures, movement patterns, and his companions' fighting styles, before engaging with calculated precision. He sidestepped the largest Vulcan's charge, using its momentum to throw it into another with seemingly effortless skill. No magic, Natsu noted with surprise, just pure martial arts expertise executed with perfection. Use your Slayer magic, he called between flame attacks. These things are tougher than normal Vulcans. Goku nodded, centering himself as he called upon the golden crimson fire. It responded eagerly, almost hungrily, coalescing around his hands and arms in swirling patterns that resembled draconic scales. Flame Dragon God Striking Fang. The technique emerged instinctively, a concentrated blast of golden fire that shaped itself into a dragon's head before impacting its target. The Vulcan didn't merely fall, the strange purple energy surrounding it was consumed by Goku's flames, which grew momentarily brighter before returning to their normal intensity. All 3 mages paused, startled by the effect. Did your fire just eat that energy? Gray asked, momentarily distracted. The remaining Vulcans used the opening to launch a coordinated attack. One caught Gray with a powerful blow that sent him crashing into a tree, while 2 others overwhelmed Natsu through sheer numbers. The 5th circled toward Goku with unexpected strategic awareness. Something shifted in Goku's demeanor, a calm focus descending like a mantle as he assessed the situation. When he moved, it was with a speed that left afterimages, appearing beside Gray first to intercept a follow-up attack, then materializing near Natsu to create breathing room with precisely targeted energy blasts. Flame Dragon God's explosive breath. Unlike Natsu's roar, this technique created multiple small spheres of concentrated fire that detonated with controlled force, enough to repel the Vulcans without potentially harming his allies. Each explosion consumed more of the purple energy clinging to the creatures. Their magic is making yours stronger, Natsu realized, recovering his stance. Goku nodded. It feels like it belongs to me somehow, like it was mine originally and got corrupted. Theory later. Fighting now, Gray interjected, creating a volley of ice lances. Ice make. Lance. The 3 wizards moved with increasing coordination, adapting to each other's styles with the instinctive understanding of natural combatants. Natsu's aggressive fire attacks drove the Vulcans into position for Gray's precision ice constructs, while Goku alternated between physical combat and targeted magic to systematically dismantle the creatures' defenses. Within minutes, the battle concluded. The Vulcans lay unconscious, their strange purple auras completely absorbed by Goku's flames. Most telling was the change in the creatures themselves, their previously aggressive expressions replaced by confusion as they began stirring. They look normal now, Gray observed cautiously. Natsu sniffed the air. Smell normal too. Whatever was wrong with them, Goku's fire fixed it. Goku examined his hands thoughtfully. Golden embers still dancing between his fingers. This magic, it purifies somehow. Like it's meant to consume corruption. Dragon God Slayer, Gray mused. Maybe the God part is significant. In some religions, divine fire cleanses impurity. Before they could theorize further, a new magical presence approached, controlled but substantial. All 3 tensed until a figure emerged from the forest path behind them. The woman who appeared wore the modified uniform of a rune knight, military in design but adapted for greater mobility. Short dark hair framed determined features, and intelligent blue eyes assessed the situation with professional efficiency. Despite her compact frame, she carried herself with the unmistakable confidence of a trained fighter. Vulcan situation under control, I see, she stated, voice direct and no nonsense. Impressive work. Who are you? Natsu demanded, flames still flickering around his fists. She displayed an official insignia. Special Lieutenant Videl, Magical Anomaly Division. I've been tracking unusual energy signatures in this region. Gray relaxed slightly at the credentials, though Natsu remained suspicious. Goku, however, had gone completely still, staring at the woman with an intensity that suggested recognition struggling to surface. Videl, he repeated, the name stirring something deep within his fragmented memory. Her professional demeanor faltered momentarily, eyes softening before discipline reasserted itself. Son Goku, reports of your arrival reached Council headquarters yesterday. Golden flames, dimensional rift, memory loss, quite the entrance. You know me, Goku stated, not a question but a certainty. Yes, she maintained careful distance, watching his reaction. Though, perhaps not the version of you standing before me now. The cryptic response confused Gray and Natsu, but Goku understood immediately. We're from the same place. The same world. Videl nodded once, her controlled expression betraying nothing of the emotions beneath. We have much to discuss, but not here. She gestured to the unconscious Vulcans. These creatures were corrupted by dimensional energy Lala, convergence point, likely the temple ruin your client mentioned. You're investigating the same thing we are, Gray realized. Similar authorization, different methodology, she replied cryptically. I've been tracking these anomalies for 3 years. 3 years, Natsu interjected. How long have you been in Earthland? Something flashed across Videl's face, old pain carefully controlled. 5 years, 2 months, 17 days. Her gaze returned to Goku. You're not the first to cross between worlds, just the most recent. The precision of her answer struck Goku deeply. This was someone who counted each day away from home, someone who remembered what he couldn't. I need to know, he said quietly. Videl's expression softened marginally. And you will, but dimensional magic is delicate. Too much information too quickly could destabilize your condition. She turned businesslike again. Let's secure these Vulcans and continue to the temple. The convergence point requires containment before more creatures are affected. Despite Natsu's vocal suspicions, they proceeded as Videl suggested. The Rune Knight maintained professional distance during their journey deeper into the mountains, answering general questions about dimensional theory but deflecting anything specific about Goku's past. The Council has documented 17 dimensional events in the past decade, she explained as they hiked. Most were minor, objects transferring between worlds, temporary visual phenomena. 5 involved living beings. 3 of those survived the transition. And you were one of them, Gray concluded. Videl nodded. The first, actually. My arrival was accidental. Wrong place, wrong time during an experiment gone wrong. What kind of experiment? Natsu pressed. The interdimensional kind, she replied dryly. That's all I'm authorized to share. Throughout this exchange, Goku remained uncharacteristically quiet, studying Videl with intensity. Something about her was hauntingly familiar. Not just her appearance but her mannerisms, the precise way she moved, the underlying determination in her voice. Memory fragments flickered, teaching someone martial arts forms. Watching blue eyes narrow in concentration, a fierce smile during sparring matches. We trained together, he stated suddenly. Videl missed a step, composure cracking briefly before she recovered. Yes, she acknowledged. Among other things, the admission hung between them, laden with unspoken implications. Before Goku could press further, the forest opened into a small clearing dominated by ancient stone ruins. What might once have been a majestic temple had long since surrendered to time, columns crumbled and walls partially reclaimed by vegetation. More concerning was the faint distortion hovering above the central courtyard, a shimmer in reality like heat waves above desert sand, but moving in geometric patterns that defied natural explanation. Convergence point, Videl confirmed, equipment already in hand. Active but stable for now. The energy signature matches the corruption we found in the Vulcans. It feels familiar, Goku noted, golden flames appearing in and around his hands as he approached the phenomenon. The fire reached toward the distortion like a living thing seeking reconnection. Careful, Videl warned. Direct contact could. The warning came too late. As Goku's flames touched the convergence point, reality shuddered. The distortion expanded suddenly, images flickering within its transparent surface, a martial arts tournament arena, a massive tower with a corporate logo. A small house nestled against mountains, before contracting violently. Goku staggered as memory fragments slammed into his consciousness, training under impossible gravity. A blue-haired woman working on mechanical devices, a young boy calling him, Dad, a wedding ceremony with the scent of cherry blossoms. Bulma, he gasped, the name surfacing from the chaos. And Gohan, my son. Videl was beside him instantly, supporting him as his knees threatened to buckle. Easy, she murmured, professional distance temporarily abandoned. Your mind is trying to process too much at once. Behind them, the convergence point stabilized, shrinking to its original size but pulsing with greater intensity. Natsu and Gray approached cautiously, concern evident. What just happened? Gray demanded. Memory resonance, Videl explained, still supporting Goku. The convergence point connected briefly with his origin world, triggering partial recall. Goku straightened slowly, golden flames still dancing across his skin but calmer now. I remembered people, places. His expression reflected confusion, but it doesn't feel complete. Like looking through a fogged window at someone else's life. That's normal with dimensional displacement, Videl assured him, professional tone returning as she stepped back. Your consciousness is protecting itself. Compel, eat recall too quickly could cause psychological damage. Natsu approached the convergence point, sniffing curiously. It smells like Goku did when he first arrived, but there's that weird sourness too. Corruption, Videl confirmed. Something's interfering with natural dimensional boundaries. These convergence points shouldn't exist. While Videl established containment measures around the phenomenon, Gray and Natsu assisted with securing the perimeter. Goku joined Videl, his presence triggering obvious tension in her carefully maintained composure. You're not telling me everything, he observed quietly. She continued working, voice equally low. I'm telling you what you can safely process right now. We were more than training partners, weren't we? Her hands stilled momentarily before resuming their precise movements. Yes, but not together. He framed it as a question, uncertain why he felt this specific detail mattered. Videl's expression flickered with complex emotions. It's complicated. We were important to each other, allies, friends. She met his eyes briefly. The rest is part of what you need to remember on your own, when you're ready. The conversa. Qian paused as she activated a magical containment field around the convergence point. The distortion remained visible but stabilized, its corrupting influence neutralized. What now? Gray asked as they regrouped. I need to report this to headquarters, Videl stated. And you should complete your mission by confirming the Vulcans won't threaten the lumber operation again. And then, Goku pressed. Videl's professional mask softened slightly. Then we talk, properly. But first, I need authorization for what I can share. She hesitated before adding, some information is classified not Jew. Saint for protocol but for safety, yours and everyone else's. The implication was clear. Whatever had brought Goku to Earthland involved greater complications than simple dimensional travel. The Sariasan's in Videl's eyes suggested danger beyond personal confusion. I'll find you at Fairy Tale tomorrow, she promised. Until then, be careful with what you remember. Don't force it. With that cryptic warning, they parted ways, Videl heading toward the council outpost in Shiratsum while the Fairy Tale mages returned to complete their mission. Throughout their journey back, Goku remained introspective, processing the fragments that had surfaced. You okay? Natsu asked eventually, uncharacteristically perceptive. Processing, Goku replied. The memories feel real but distant, like watching someone else's life. Maybe that's not entirely wrong, Gray suggested thoughtfully. Dimensional travel could change a person. You might have Goku's memories but be slightly different now. The perspective offered unexpected comfort. Perhaps he didn't need to be exactly who he was before. Perhaps this new world offered the opportunity to define himself anew while honoring the past he was gradually recovering. By evening, they had returned to Magnolia, mission successfully completed. The client's gratitude had been effusive, particulating that the Vulcans would likely return to their normal, less aggressive behavior patterns now that the corrupting influence was contained. Fairy Tale's Guildhall welcomed them with characteristic noise and warmth. Mirajan served drinks while members shared stories of their own missions. Successes and failures alike recounted with equal enthusiasm. Goku observed it all with growing appreciation for this strange, vibrant community that had accepted him without reservation. "Welcome back," came Erza's voice as she approached their table. "Successful mission. More than we bargained for," Gray informed her, briefly summarizing their encounter with the corrupted Vulcans and the convergence point. Erza's expression grew serious at the mention of Videl, a rune knight specializing in dimensional anomalies. "That's a highly restricted division." She knew Goku, Natsu added between mouthfuls of fire-spiced food. From before, all attention shifted to Goku, who nodded confirmation. "We trained together, apparently. I remembered a few names. Hen the convergence point activated, Bulma, Gohan. People who were important to me." "Did she explain how you arrived here?" Erza pressed. "No, she said too much information too quickly could be dangerous." He met Erza's skeptical gaze directly. "I believe her. The memory fragments that surfaced were overwhelming." Erza studied him intently before nodding once. "The council doesn't assign specialized rune knights to trivial matters. If dimensional boundaries are weakening, that could explain the increase in unusual magical phenomena lately." Their conversation was interrupted by Wexler, Levi's scholarly grandfather, who approached with barely contained excitement. "Found something," he announced, ancient tome clutched reverently in gnarled hands. "Most fascinating reference, quite obscure but definitive." He placed the book on their table, opening to a marked page filled with archaic script and faded illustrations. The primary image depicted a warrior wreathed in golden crimson flames facing a massive draconic entity that seemed part physical, part ethereal. "The Chronicles of Aska, Volume 3, Wexler explained, voice quivering with scholarly enthusiasm. "Predates modern magical classification by at least 4 centuries. Describes what we would now recognize as Dragon Slayer magic but mentions a higher order, the Divine Flame." His finger traced ancient text as he slated. "Beyond the dragons of earth and sky exist the eternal dragons, those who bridge mortal realm and divine. Their fire burns between worlds, consuming corruption and falsehood. Once in each cycle rises a warrior who commands their flame, not by learning but by embodiment. This warrior bears the divine fire within, becoming vessel for power that transcends mortal understanding." Silence fell as the implications registered. Erza recovered first, asking the critical question, "Are you suggesting Goku didn't learn this magic but somehow became it?" "The text is quite specific," Wexler confirmed. "A true dragon god slayer doesn't learn the magic, they embody it. The power exists within them rather than being acquired externally." He peered at Goku with scholarly interest. Intriguing consideration. Perhaps your dimensional transition facilitated this embodiment." Goku frowned thoughtfully. "The magic does feel like part of me rather than something I'm channeling from outside. And when it touched that convergence point, there was recognition, like it was reaching for something familiar." "The text mentions, bridging mortal realm and divine," Gray noted. "Could that relate to dimensional travel?" "Most plausible interpretation," Wexler agreed enthusiastically. "Ancient cultures often conceptualized different dimensions as divine realms. What we classify as dimensional boundaries, they might have described as barriers between mortal and godly domains." Further discussion was interrupted by Makarov's arrival. The guild master listened to their theories with thoughtful attention before offering his own perspective. "Throughout magical history, there have been powers that defy standard classification, abilities that seem to choose their wielders rather than being chosen." He studied Goku with penetrating intensity. "What interests me is why this magic chose you specifically." "Maybe it didn't," Natsu suggested unexpectedly. "Maybe Goku already had something similar in his original world, and coming here just changed how it works." The surprisingly insightful suggestion earned surprised looks from everyone. Natsu shrugged defensively. "What? I have good ideas sometimes. Actually," Goku said slowly, "that feels right. I used energy before, different from magic here, but similar principles. Mostly gold in color, not these crimson elements." He summoned a small flame to his palm for demonstration. "This feels like my original power but transformed somehow. Adaptation to Earthland's magical environment," Wexler hypothesized. "Fascinating theoretical implications. Your original energy reconfiguring to interact with our world's Ethernano." While the scholarly discussion continued, Erza observed Goku with renewed consideration. The revelation that his power might be an adapted version of abilities he already possessed rather than something entirely new changed her threat assessment significantly. This wasn't someone who had stumbled into dangerous magic beyond his understanding. This was a warrior experiencing a transformation of already substantial power. "We should test the limits of your magic," she stated decisively, interrupting the theoretical debate. "Controlled conditions, full combat application. Tomorrow morning, training grounds behind the guild." The directness of her challenge brought conversations to a halt. Everyone recognized this for what it was: Erza Scarlet, Fairy Tail's strongest female mage, officially evaluating the newcomer's capabilities. Goku met her gaze steadily, a small smile playing at his lips. "I'd like that." The simplicity of his acceptance, devoid of boasting or reservation, earned Erza's approving nod. "Dawn," she confirmed before departing, leaving speculation in her wake. "She likes you," Natsu stated matter-of-factly once she was out of earshot. Goku looked genuinely confused. "She's still suspicious of me." "Exactly," Gray confirmed with a knowing smirk. "Erza doesn't waste time testing people she doesn't find interesting. Most newcomers she just ignores until they prove themselves. Or terrifies into submission," added Natsu with a dramatic shudder. The insight provided new context for Erza's behavior, her consistent attention, pointed questions, and now direct challenge. Not merely suspicion but professional curiosity, perhaps even respect for capabilities she recognized but wanted to measure personally. Later that evening, as members gradually departed for home, Lucy offered Goku continued use of her couch. "Until you find your own place, it's fine. Though maybe we should discuss grocery contributions given your appetite." The arrangement settled, they walked through Magnolia's lamp-lit streets. Lucy's natural warmth and conversational skill drew out details of the mission that Goku hadn't shared with the larger group, particularly his confused emotional response to Vidal's appearance. "It's strange," he admitted. "I know she's important somehow. But I can't place exactly how or why. There's recognition without context. Memory is complicated," Lucy offered thoughtfully. "My mother died when I was young, and sometimes I struggle to remember her face clearly. But certain sensations, the scent of her perfume, the sound of her laughter, can bring her back instantly. Emotional memory persisting when factual memory fails," Goku summarized, surprising Lucy with his insight. "Exactly. Maybe your feelings remember Vidal even if your mind doesn't fully recall your history together." The perspective helped, providing framework for the confusing fragments he'd experienced. By the time they reached Lucy's apartment than he had since arriving in Earthland. That calm focus would serve him well the following morning, as dawn found him at Fairy Tail's training grounds facing Erza Scarlet in full combat armor. A small crowd had gathered, guild members never missing an opportunity to witness potential excitement, but maintain respectful distance from the designated arena. Erza stood opposite Goku, her expression professionally neutral as she addressed the terms. "This is assessment, not destruction. The objective is to understand your capabilities, not injure each other unnecessarily." Goku nodded, settling into a relaxed stance that nevertheless conveyed complete readiness. Rules of engagement: no lethal force. Arena boundaries is marked: victory by surrender or incapacitation. She manifested a standard sword, her signature requip magic bringing it instantly to hand. "Begin when ready." Rather than attacking immediately, Goku took 3 measured breaths, centered himself, and bowed formally, a gesture of respect that visibly surprised Erza. Then, without warning, he moved. His speed exceeded what he'd demonstrated previously, appearing within Erza's guard faster than most observers could track. Yet instead of striking, he deliberately pulled back from an opening in her defense, testing rather than exploiting. Erza's eyes widened marginally, she recognized the test for what it was. Her response came instantly, sword flashing in complex patterns that would have overwhelmed an ordinary opponent. Goku evaded with minimal movement, studying her style while offering deliberate openings in his own defense to observe how she capitalized on them. They circled, engaged, separated, a high-level exchange that resembled conversation more than combat. Neither used magic initially, focusing on pure martial skill. Erza's swordsmanship was technically flawless, her movements efficient and precise. Gok. Yu's unarmed combat style revealed extensive training, combining elements of multiple disciplines seamlessly. Impressive foundations, Erza acknowledged during a momentary separation. But this isn't a full assessment yet. She reequipped instantly, armor transforming to her Heaven's Wheel configuration, metallic wings extending as multiple swords manifested around her. Show me your magic, Dragon God Slayer. Goku smiled. Not arrogantly but with genuine pleasure at facing a worthy opponent. Golden crimson flames erupted around him, responding to his will with eager intensity. The fire shaped itself into draconic patterns across his body without consuming his clothing, concentrating particularly around his arms and hands. Flame Dragon God's talons. Fire extended from his fingertips in razor-sharp projections as he charged. Meeting Erza's circle sword attack directly. The collision of magics created a shockwave that rippled across the training grounds, golden fire against enchanted steel. What followed demonstrated why Erza held S-class rank. She transitioned between armors with strategic precision, Flame Empress to reduce fire damage, Flight Armor for speed, Lightning Empress for ranged attacks. Each transformation forced Goku to adapt, testing different aspects of his capabilities. Goku responded with increasingly sophisticated applications of his Dragon God Slayer magic. Beyond simple blasts and physical enhancements, he demonstrated techniques requiring fine control, creating fire constructs that moved independently, manipulating temperature with precision, even brie. Fly crafting golden flames that burned without heat to disorient rather than damage. The spectators watched in awe as the duel intensified. Natsu cheered enthusiastically for both combatants, while Gray observed with tactical appreciation. Lucy documented everything in her writer's notebook, while Makarov and Wexler analyzed the magical interactions with scholarly interest. 20 minutes into the assessment, neither combatant showed signs of fatigue. Erza paused momentarily, reequipping into her clear heart clothing, a simple hakama and sarashi wrappings that maximized mobility while displaying absolute confidence in her skills. Final phase, she announced, katana materializing in her grip. No restraints except the prohibition against lethal force. Goku nodded, allowing his flames to recede until only his eyes burned with golden light. Understood. What followed transcended ordinary combat. Both moved with the absolute focus of master martial artists, each attack flowing into defense flowing into counterattack in seamless sequence. Erza's sword became nearly invisible with speed, while Goku's movements left afterimages that confused visual tracking. Neither spoke, yet calm. Unication occurred through the language of combat, testing, acknowledging, respecting each other's skills without need for words. When magic returned to their exchange, it manifested with controlled precision rather than overwhelming force. Erza's blade enhanced with elemental effects, Goku's flames concentrating at impact points for maximum efficiency. The duel's conclusion came unexpectedly. Erza executed a flawless combination attack that should have trapped Goku completely, sword striking from one angle while telekinetically controlled armor pieces attacked from 3 others simultaneously. No ordinary opponent could have evaded all vectors. Goku didn't evade. Instead, golden flames erupted in a perfect sphere around him, not explosive but intensely concentrated. As Erza's attacks contacted this barrier, an extraordinary interaction occurred. Her magic wasn't damaged or repelled but temporarily absorbed into the golden fire, rendering the attacks harmless before releasing the energy safely in controlled dispersal. Both combatants froze in the aftermath, equally surprised by the effect. The defensive technique had emerged instinctively, without conscious planning on Goku's part. Erza recovered first, lowering her sword. Assessment complete, she declared, a new respect evident in her tone. The gathered crowd erupted in cheers and excited conversation. Makarov nodded with satisfaction while Wexler scribbled notes frantically. Natsu bounced with excitement, already demanding to fight next, while Lucy and Gray debated the technical aspects of what they'd witnessed. Goku approached Erza, extending his hand in the traditional gesture of respect between warriors. "Thank you for the match." She clasped his forearm in response, warrior to warrior rather than casual handshake. "Your training is extensive and your control impressive. The magic responds to you intuitively, suggesting deep compatibility. Your swordsmanship is extraordinary," he countered sincerely. "And your tactical adaptability even better." A ghost of a smile touched her lips. Had this been actual combat rather than assessment, the outcome might have differed. We should find out sometime, Goku suggested. Eyes twinkling with the same combat enthusiasm Erza recognized from Natsu, albeit more disciplined. Before she could respond, a new presence interrupted their exchange. Videl stood at the training ground's edge, now dressed in more casual attire than her Rune Knight uniform, though the military precision of her posture remained unchanged. Her expression as she observed Goku and Erza's interaction was carefully neutral. "Lieutenant," Erza acknowledged professionally. "Just Videl today," she corrected. "I'm here unofficially." Her attention shifted to Goku. "If you're available, we should talk." The significance of the moment wasn't lost on anyone present. Whatever Videl planned to share might illuminate the mystery of Goku's arrival and identity. Erza stepped back, giving them space while remaining close enough to intervene if necessary, her protective instinct toward guild members already extending to include their newest addition. "I'm ready," Goku stated simply. Videl gestured toward the city. "Let's walk. Some conversations are better in motion." As they departed, Makarov joined Erza in watching them leave. "Interesting dynamic," the guild master observed. "She knows him well, but she's being careful with that knowledge. Wisdom often requires restraint." Makarov's eyes twinkled with his characteristic blend of mischief and insight. "Your assessment was quite thorough." Conclusions. Erza considered her response carefully. His combat instincts are extraordinary, beyond mere training. His body remembers what his mind has forgotten. The magic. She paused, searching for accurate description. It's like watching someone rediscover a native language after years speaking something else. Familiar yet new simultaneously. "And your personal assessment?" Makarov pressed gently. A slight flush colored Erza's cheeks, quickly controlled. "He's honorable. Tests boundaries without breaking them. Powerful but careful with that power." She met her master's knowing gaze directly. "I believe we can trust him." High praise indeed from Fairy Tale's Titania. Makarov smiled broadly. "And just in time, I suspect. These dimensional disturbances concern me greatly. If Son Goku is connected to them as I believe, we may need his strength sooner rather than later." Across Magnolia, Goku and Videl walked in silence along the canal pathway. Neither rushed to break the quiet, both recognizing the importance of what would follow. Eventually they reached a secluded park overlooking the city, private enough for sensitive conversation. Videl sat on a stone bench, gesturing for Goku to join her. From a small pouch at her waist, she withdrew an object that immediately captured his complete attention, an orange crystalline sphere containing 4 red stars suspended within. "Do you recognize this?" she asked quietly. Goku reached for it with instinctive reverence, cradling the sphere in his palm. "Dragon Ball," he whispered, the term emerging from deep memory. 4-star, my grandfather's. "Yes." Videl watched his reaction carefully. "It came with me when I crossed dimensions 5 years ago. According to council researchers, it's what allowed me to survive the transition intact. Others who crossed without similar anchors didn't fare as well." "There should be 7, Goku stated with certainty. "There were," she confirmed. "In our original world. Here, I've only found 3, this one, the 6-star, and the 1-star. They're different in Earthland, more crystalline, partially merged with lacrima properties. They respond to magical energy as well as ki." Goku examined the sphere with fascination. "It feels alive somehow. The council believes they've become semi-sentient through dimensional exposure. They're also connected to the convergence points. Each one stabilizes the boundary between worlds when properly activated. That's why you're tracking them. To fix the dimensional tiers." Videl nodded. "Exactly. And that's why your arrival is significant. The Dragon Balls responded when you crossed over, all 3 that we've located simultaneously activated, creating a stable passage rather than the chaotic transition I experienced." Goku frowned, processing this information against his fragmented memories. "But I don't remember deciding to come here. There was a battle. Something about protecting." He winced as pain lanced through his temples. "Don't force it," Videl cautioned, gently taking the Dragon Ball back. "Your mind will release memories when you're ready. What matters now is understanding your current situation." "Which is?" Her expression grew serious. "You've become what the ancient texts call a nexus being, someone who exists simultaneously in multiple dimensional frequencies. You're a original energy." He has merged with Earthland's Ethernano to create your Dragon God Slayer magic. This makes you uniquely capable of affecting dimensional boundaries. Like when my flames consumed the corruption at the convergence point. Goku realized. Precisely. What you absorbed was dimensional instability, damage to the natural order. Your magic repairs these breaches instinctively. The implications settled heavily. So I'm supposed to fix these tears. Is that why I'm here? Videl hesitated. Perhaps. Or perhaps you're here because something is coming through those tears, something that only you can face. Before she could elaborate, a distant explosion shattered their conversation. Both warriors turned toward the sound, witnessing a column of purple energy erupting from Magnolia's Aya. Stern district. Identical to the corrupted ore they'd encountered with the Vulcans, but vastly more concentrated. Another convergence point, Videl stated grimly, already reaching for her communications lacrima. But much larger than any I've documented previously. Goku was already on his feet, golden flames manifesting in response to the dimensional disturbance. People will be in danger. Wait, Videl caught his arm. There's something you should know before you confront this. The corruption we're seeing, it's not accidental. Someone is deliberately destabilizing dimensional boundaries. And they've been doing it systematically for months. Who? We don't know their identity, only their name, the Void Council. They leave this symbol at each major incursion point. She quickly sketched a geometric pattern resembling an eye within a triangle, surrounded by 7 stars. They're searching for something, and I believe it's you. Goku processed this with unexpected calm, the worry. Or's focus descending over him like a mantle. Then they've found me, but they might not like the result. Without further discussion, both sprinted toward the disturbance, racing across Magnolia's rooftops with the practiced efficiency of trained combatants. Behind them, the Dragon Ball pulsed with increasing intensity, responding to the dimensional disruption like a living heart accelerating in anticipation of challenge to come. In the Eastern District, reality itself began to fracture as the convergence point expanded. Purple lightning arced between buildings as civilians fled in terror. At the distortion's center, a shadowy figure stood with arms outstretched, drawing the corruption toward themselves with obvious purpose. The dimensional boundary between worlds thinned dangerously as Goku and Videl approached, the veil between Earthland and elsewhere stretching to its breaking point as the mysterious figure continued their work. Within the growing rift, shadowy shapes moved with predatory intent, waiting for the moment when nothing would stand between them and a new world to consume. Chapter 2 End. The End. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Remember to subscribe and like this video. See you in the next video.